Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and it's that time of the week again where we take a look at the upcoming games for this week and to see if any of them are actually worth your time and or money. This week is absolutely stacked for new video game releases and it's easily the busiest launch period that I've seen so far for this 2025. I will be covering 17 games today out of the over 40 of them coming to Xbox this week, and also make sure to keep an eye out for the Xbox Game Pass icon so you know which games are coming to the service. With that though, let's dive right into the games coming your way for this week. First up, we have a co-op game that's landing on Xbox as of today, and it's the excellent looking LEGO Voyagers. This one is built around 2-player teamwork, meaning it's designed to be played side by side, and that's making it perfect for friends, couples, or even family members. It reminds me a lot of games like Split Fiction or even It Takes Two. An interesting aspect as well is that the game is also completely non-verbal, so every single puzzle, every interaction, and every emotional moment is conveyed through animation and clever design. You'll essentially be guiding 2 tiny LEGO bricks on a journey to rebuild their crashed spaceship, venturing through a colourful, inventive world filled with obstacles and challenges. Fans of the game known as LEGO Builder's Journey will feel right at home here, but if you want a great co-op experience, then this is one you need to pick up for this week. Definitely get your diaries out because we've got a date with a game called Skate this week. Yes, that's right, EA's long-awaited Skate reboot will officially launch as a free-to-play game and it lands onto the Xbox Store into early access as of this Tuesday. As you may know, EA has been playtesting this game now for quite some time, and the intent with the early access period is to keep receiving feedback whilst continually providing us with fresh challenges, cosmetics, music, world updates, and even new events. Those of you who are familiar with the old Skate game should feel right at home with this one though, but do keep in mind that the reboot is a multiplayer focused title with live service elements, meaning microtransactions will certainly be involved. Still, I'm pretty interested to see where this game lands, especially for such a popular franchise now that it's going free to play. An Xbox Game Pass title I'm seriously looking forward to for this week is Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, and unlike the co-op-focused main game, this entry is instead a solo top-down shooter that puts you in charge of one singular dwarf miner. You'll basically have access to 4 different classes like the original game, and of course each of them do bring their own perks and playstyles as you dig through procedurally generated caverns. Like the first game though, this world will be full of alien threats and valuable resources, and it's your job to go as far as possible. Early impressions from the PC launch so far have described it as an addictive experience, especially for fans of games like Vampire Survivors. With praise like that, I'm eager to see how it feels once it lands onto Xbox Game Pass, and I will have a review up this week for all of you Xbox Game Pass subscribers. A really interesting indie game landed into my inbox earlier last week, and it's a frenetic hand-drawn bullet hell shooter blending run and gun mechanics with classic shmup action in looping arenas. ZOE Begone looks to be inspired by drawn-on film animation of the 1930s, so that means shoot, dash, and pound your way through the animator's creations. For sure, the one thing that immediately stands out to you though will probably be its art direction, as I've actually never seen a game like this before, and I'm curious to see how it lands with all of you watching. There is said to be a single player mode, online leaderboards, and some other challenge elements right out the gate, so it might be worth diving into if you're looking for a more unique little indie title for this week. Commandos Origins was originally released onto Xbox Game Pass earlier this year for both the Xbox Series consoles and also PC, but now the dev team over at Calypso Media have now decided to launch their hit strategy title onto the Xbox One consoles this week. If you're unfamiliar, this game features over 10 missions that will take you from the sweltering African desert to the frozen wastes of the Arctic. It then has you controlling 6 iconic characters and tasks you with infiltrating and sabotaging enemy facilities to stop their ever-growing Nazi war machine. I have played this one a bit and I did actually quite enjoy my time with it, even though I did think the story was pretty average and found that the console controls were still a bit clunky. Still, if you're on the older generation of consoles and want to dive into a brilliant strategy game, then this is one to try. Talking of indie games to try though, this next game looks utterly brilliant. Formula Legends finally lands onto Xbox this week, and is certainly a different one and more arcadey take on the F1 games that we know and love. Formula Legends right out the gate will feature 16 different car models, each with 7 different liveries. Although the cars may be chunky, toy-style caricatures, the inspiration behind each one of them is incredibly clear. According to a few early previews by the likes of IGN, the team behind Formula Legends seems to have a ton of passion for Formula 1, and it really does show within the gameplay. Everything from tracks to sound design and even how the cars look are heavily inspired by F1 due to the team having a real passion within this area. The devs have also said it's a mix of New Star GP and Art of Rally, so if you love either of those two indie games, then I'm sure you'll love this brand new indie entry. Now, Arctic Awakening has been on my radar for quite some time, and the wait is finally paying off. The game is officially heading to Xbox consoles, with its release date creeping closer every single day. Rather than drawing from sunny forests, this narrative adventure game drops players into a frozen wilderness that feels both breathtaking and pretty unsettling. You will play as Kai, a pilot who survives a crash landing in the middle of an unforgiving snowstorm. His pilot, named Donovan, has vanished, and the search to uncover his fate drives the story forward. You can expect, of course, more than simple survival, as there'll be mysteries, hidden dangers, and then the strange discoveries lurking beneath the ice. This one is actually backed by developers with experience over at Telltale, Marvel, and LucasArts, so you can expect Arctic Awakening to promise atmosphere, tension, and a lot of heart. I will be sharing a full review for this game before its launch, so don't miss it and subscribe down below. Strategy fans have had plenty to celebrate as of late, and things are about to get even better, as Frostpunk 2 is finally making its way onto the Xbox Series X and S consoles through Xbox Game Pass. After spending a solid run on PC Game Pass, console players will now get their turn to dive into this chilling sequel. This one though is set 3 decades after the events of the original game, and it now tasks you with guiding a fractured society struggling to endure in a world locked in ice. This follow-up though does expand the formula with rival factions, a far more dynamic weather system, and also layers of political tension that demand tougher choices. PC players have already embraced this one with strong reviews, and I'm confident that a console release will spark the same reaction. I have been testing it on Xbox all of last week, so expect my full review on this one very soon. As you can tell, I do have quite a few reviews and videos landing onto the channel this week, so if you do love Xbox, or if you just want to keep up to date with news, reviews, and so much more, then do consider subscribing down below. We have now become one of the largest independent Xbox channels here on YouTube, and I would love for you to join our awesome Xbox community. Thanks so much for the support so far this 2025, and let's dive back into the remaining releases for this week. Horror games aren't usually my thing, but fans of this genre will definitely want to keep a close eye on Labyrinth for this year. Already a hit over on PC, the chilling co-op experience is now making its debut on our consoles and landing onto Xbox as a full release for this week. Even better, it will support cross-platform play right out the gate, so up to 8 players can band together or split apart while navigating its eerie and twisting mazes. Of course though, every corner will hide some really unsettling puzzles and also terrifying creatures that are waiting to strike, making your teamwork as important as your courage. What has made this game so popular on PC though is that oppressive atmosphere, paired with the gameplay that keeps you on edge from start to finish. Early access did start last week for Xbox players, and so far people have been quite enjoying it. So if you're looking for a game just in time for this Halloween, then this one is certainly for you. Amongst the steady flow of indie releases landing onto Xbox, one of the most unusual entries this week is Moon Mystery. This strange hybrid of shooter and puzzle game first appeared on PC late last year, and is now heading to both the Xbox Series X and S consoles this week. The interesting part isn't just the gameplay, it's the reputation. On Steam, reviews are split right down the middle, with a mixed score from around 500 players so far. Some people really love the atmosphere and the ideas, while others think the execution does miss the mark. It is one of those titles where curiosity might pull you in, but whether you stay depends entirely on your taste. At the game's core though, you will travel back to the moon and have to piece together what happened to the previous mission alongside the sole survivor, the AI computer. It looks rather interesting though, so do keep an eye on this one or wait for some reviews if you are interested. In my previous video covering the new Xbox Game Pass releases, I mentioned that I have been really enjoying a game known as I'm Your Beast, and to me it's a real hidden gem that many have really overlooked. Well, this week sees another awesome looking indie that's battling in that same arena. Extinction Rifts is a fast-paced FPS where you get stronger as your combo increases. It is of course inspired by classic shooters from that same PS1 era, and you'll have to battle your way through secret enemy headquarters and then destroy the ancient monoliths with your devastating gauntlets. I always dig these sort of boomer shooters these days, and this one looks like an utterly excellent one from its presentation to its gameplay. Well, I really wasn't expecting Techland to move up the release date by a whole day, but here we are. Dying Like the Beast now lands onto Xbox on the 18th of September, and it seems like the devs are insanely confident about their newest entry into the zombie parkour franchise. This one though puts you back into the shoes of Carl Crane as he seeks revenge after enduring 13 years of brutal experiments, and now he himself has now turned into a hybrid of human and monster. Of course, you still have all of the excellent parkour, open world exploration and fast-paced combat we know and love, but now redefined and set within a new world of Castor Woods. I know many out there have been really hyped for this one, and for myself, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how this story progresses after the events of the first game. Folly of the Wizards is bringing its chaotic, comedic roguelike action to our Xbox consoles, and it's one that's worth keeping your eye on. In this game, you play as a bumbling apprentice in a wacky wizard cult, tasked with saving the world from a demon invasion, though failure will be often part of that fun. What's cool is that the dungeons here are also procedurally generated, and are filled with tons of strange enemies and unpredictable spells. You can also choose from 4 eccentric apprentices, each with their own quirks, and then decide whether to ally with elite wizards or defy them and face the consequences. With the devs mentioning that there's over 130 relics, tomes and scrolls to combine, no 2 runs are ever billed to be the same, especially when tackling the 22 bosses across the 9 different biomes. It looks like a really cool indie gem, and I'm sure it's going to be a big hit when it lands later this week. The early access launch of EA Sports FC 26 finally begins this Friday, and I for one am pretty excited, as I am one of those suckers who always goes out of my way to play the latest football game every single year. Yes, I am certainly part of the problem. I've been lucky enough though to play the closed beta for the past few weeks, so a big shout out to EA, and I think this one is going to be a nice little shake up for all of you FIFA fans. The gameplay does seem to have a noticeable change, however I really can't go into much detail prior to the launch, so do stay tuned for my review once I get full access to the Ultimate Team section and other areas. Still, if you're going for the Ultimate Edition package, get ready for this Friday, and if you're also part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you can get the 10-hour free trial right away thanks to your subscription. Tucked into today's roundup is an awesome looking scooter game known as ScootX, and it's quietly releasing onto Xbox this week. ScootX is described as the world's first 100% driven scooter simulation game, and it's been in early access on Steam since July. Over there though, it's actually garnered a very positive rating based on over 700 user impressions at the time of making this video. It's definitely not all positive though, as some have pointed out some issues with bugs and others simply don't enjoy the controls, but it does seem to be an overwhelming majority and a general consensus that it feels like an early access title that's been doing very well. Still, the majority of players are actually really enjoying this one, and we're hoping there will be a free trial when it lands onto Xbox, as that is usually the case when a title launches into early access or via game preview. Oh, if you are wondering though about the price point when it does launch this week, it's currently £16.75 over on PC, so I do expect the same when it lands onto our consoles for this week. I know many of you are sick of roguelikes, and I do hear you, but to be fair, Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree from Bandai Namco does legitimately look like one to watch for this week. This one has us following Towa, a priestess of Shinju, as she stands united with 8 trustworthy companions to defeat Megatsu. Each Guardian though looks to have their own abilities and sets of swords, making each combat style and Guardian pair unique. Together, you will pave your way through colourful lands, conquer dungeons, and defeat Magatusu's minions. As you progress through the game though, your own Shinju village will evolve, and you'll build new relationships with the inhabitants that do live there. Personally, I do kind of really like that Saturday morning cartoon art style, and whilst the isometric perspective is perhaps a little too reminiscent of games like Hades, I do reckon it could be quite a hidden gem and at least a lot of fun for this week. One of the biggest Xbox highlights from Gamescom this year was for Jump Space, and it's now officially set to enter its early access as of this Friday. After the most recent gameplay trailer, my excitement has only kind of grown for this one, as it looks like a wild ride from start to finish. This co-op adventure though is shaping up to be pure chaos in the best way possible. I can already imagine losing countless hours with my friends as we explore the vast stretches of space, battling enemies and then uncovering some new worlds together. With its fast-paced first-person shooter action, Jump Space has definitely captured my attention. I do want to correct myself as well, as I did mention that this game is coming to Xbox Game Pass, but that's no longer the case as reported by a few outlets. Nonetheless, I will try and review the game shortly after its launch, so let me know below if you do want to see that video. This week is absolutely massive for Xbox releases, but I'm curious, what game are you really excited for, and are you going to be diving into any of these for this week? Do let me know down below. Remember to smash that like button if you do enjoy videos like this, and also subscribe as I will be bringing a ton of Xbox content for this week, and the support is massively appreciated. I do want to give a big shout out to our channel members as well for their continued support, and if you do want to join and support the channel, then do click that join button down below for some exclusive benefits. Whilst here though, and if you want to check out some other Xbox content here on the channel, why don't you check out the video on screen now. I recently covered the 20 best Xbox Game Pass games you can play right now this September, and there's a lot of games that are some true hidden gems.